Our guest tonight, Linas Linkevicius, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Lithuania, Minister of Defense in 1993-1996. Right, so, Mr. Linkevicius, hello, first of all.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you again. So, on Kursk, I recently interviewed Kurt Volker, ex-US State Department representative for Ukraine, and I asked just one question. How does America feel about what is up in Kursk? And he answered me in one word. America feels encouraged. Encouraged, as many have finally seen Russia at what it actually is, a colossus on a feet of clay. As a Minister of Defense, you should have probably thought about it militarily and politically. Are you encouraged? And do you think Europe is somewhat, at least, encouraged by recent events in Kursk?
Oh, definitely, I'm encouraged. I hope that America also is encouraged, as Kurt said. I believe that whole America, not that part of America, because it depends on whom we are talking about. This is not a breakthrough yet, but it's dramatic change in the war. And this is also true, since we have capabilities not compatible, because Russians are bigger and more armed forces and definitely more soldiers. So Ukraine should be more creative and should find some new methods. And this was done quite perfectly, I would say. And definitely there's not the time to talk about the results because it's not yet over. But what was done, it was very efficient. And definitely catched Russia by surprise, made Russia panic, also made them definitely showing themselves vulnerable, and that's important to note. And definitely, as I said, it's not yet the end, but nevertheless, at this moment, we can say that was very efficient and positive and encouraging, as you said.
Putin is silent about that. Why? Why not to react? So not to in any way to interact with it like never happens. Why?
Putin never reacting immediately. He never reacted on time. He was always repeating that everything is going exactly according to the plan. Now it's very difficult to repeat because it was difficult to imagine that plan would consider also territories of Russia itself. And by the way, if he had some ideas or illusions to get more territories, maybe let's make some assumptions. I hope Kurt is not listening, but if he's listening, he would understand what I'm talking about. Waiting for November elections, and until that time to get even more territories, and then to fix what was already taken as a fact, de facto, and make it de jure. Now it's very difficult to tell that. Let's take it as it is so far by both sides, because now we see that some part of Russia is also taken, and it's a big deal. And by the way, it could be even bigger. So this argument cannot work anymore.
Right. So, well, Putin wanted Ukraine to be in Russia. Well, we only deliver what has been ordered. But listen to what Russia says and expect the opposite. Like Putin says, you will not invade Ukraine, and here we are, invaded. Putin says these are not Russian awful deeds in Bucha. Certainly was Russia. So now Russia says Ukraine is going to go nuclear. If you ask me, it seems that the Kremlin is ready to provoke the world with actually going nuclear and then just pointing its finger into us in Ukraine. Well, of course, because we are all fascists here. Even our Ukrainian cats and dogs, as you know, are fascist Ukrainian dogs, as every Russian knows. So, but do you believe this is the case and Putin will actually go nuclear?
Difficult to say what Russia will do, what Putin will do. Definitely, he has to show something, at least to save his face, although it's not possible anymore, in my view. It's already done. But nevertheless, to do something and to go nuclear, as you said, or to arrange kind of provocations. And some of the provocations, let's not look too far or too deep, they are already quite easily to be forecast, so to say. It has to do with dirty bombs. And there were statements from official sources of Russia, Russian propaganda, that the Ukrainians preparing a dirty bomb in Kursk and Zaporizhia nuclear power plants. So that means that Russians preparing themselves to do something like that. And that's exactly something what they are going to show to the world, and also to use as an argument. But I don't believe that would help them.
Well, you don't believe I don't believe either, but just maybe we're just not actually reading Putin's logic, because he could do that. No expert ever believed that he would invade Ukraine. Now he says Ukrainians are actually getting ready with their dirty bomb. So you might use it, but then he will have to deal with the consequences of that. But do you believe he will go that way? Do you believe he will go nuclear and bomb his own territory, his own lands, after all? Then just point finger on Ukraine. So Ukraine did that.
It's interesting detail. You should probably notice that he's talking not just about dirty bomb, but he's talking about dirty nuclear bomb, which is not logical. By the way, it's dirty, but not nuclear. But this has to do with the nuclear power plants. Maybe it has to be somehow nuclear. But I don't think he would be ready to go so far. But what my point is that we have to be ready to some unusual asymmetric response, which has to happen basically after what happened in Kursk. Otherwise, he will be lost totally, and this is maybe for him it's not quite convenient. So this is the lessons we should draw from the events from the past. But that doesn't mean that it should change our behavior. I mean, Western behavior in supporting Ukraine. More to say, so far, let me notice, even being this tighted with various restrictions, Ukraine able to conduct very efficient operations. And let me remind that F-16 not yet in full speed used so far, F-16 program, and also long-range weapons also are used with some kind of restrictions. And even with all these, so to say, restrictions, Ukraine can be efficient. So I hope it will be argument for those skeptics or those who still hesitate to make sure that Ukraine will be able to use all weapons in their possessions in full, so to say, efficiency, and that would make the progress even bigger and greater. So that would be the advice to those who, as I said, taking decisions today. It's easy, so to say, to expect, very difficult to rely whether it happens. But nevertheless, I hope that recent events could encourage, as you use the same terminology, encouragement, so would encourage them to take right decisions, which was already too late, but nevertheless, better later than never.
Indeed. Well, some Western publications already praise Kursk operation as the beginning of the end of Putin's regime, of Putin's reign. Can you please comment on that?
It's too early to celebrate. As I said, it's not yet a final, so to say, turning point. It's tipping point, definitely. It's changing dramatically, and it showed a lot of very unexpected features of Ukraine, of Russia's, so to say, stance and position and posture. Needless to say, this is very useful. But at the same time, let's be honest, and we still believe that potential of Russia is big. Although I have to add, whatever Russia now going to do, it's an interesting question. What they're going to do, is it mobilization? Not very popular. Would create another additional tensions in the society. To fill these gaps with the conscripts, also not very popular and even very dangerous. Now there are many, maybe even not hundreds, but thousands of those military prisoners which were taken during the last operation, and probably this creates problems not just for Russian military but also the political leadership. So let's see what will happen. But nevertheless, this is the turning point, dramatic turning point in this war, and will add even more surprises in the nearby future, I expect.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. I mean, yeah, exactly. Well, we are all actually waiting what is going to happen. And you probably can imagine what the tension is here in Ukraine. We believe in our army and we definitely want to know what's next. Thank you so very much for your time and for your expertise, Mr. Linkevicius. It was Linas Linkevicius, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Lithuania in 2012-2020. Thanks so very much, and this is UATV. Stay tuned for more.